the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes.
Hey guys, this is Sam with Ketchikan Sam's. Thanks for tuning into the video today. Today we are going to walk around the property where I grew up and show a few things, and then go down to the beach. And then I think I'll talk a bit more about what I want to do with these videos, and I think it's going to be a good time. So first thing I want to do is I want to take you over to that smokehouse. This is the one that my dad and my uncle built. They have a fabrication shop here, and there's a lot of things in this yard you can see that they built. This cleaning table, they built that from scratch. The trailers for the boats, there's all kinds of stuff. They're very talented individuals. And really that's been something that has been great to be a part of, because they've built all sorts of toys that I can use my whole life. And so here we go. Here's the smokehouse. This is about the size of an outhouse. It's a pretty good size unit. Run about 50 pounds of load. See, we got a rotisserie. They built a 6-rack rotisserie in here, where you see the racks come out, and we take those in. We can load the racks up somewhere else, and then it creates an even distribution as this thing smokes. And then down here, this is how we would do the smoking. Is you put charcoal briquettes in there, and then you put these chips of alder. You see a few of them around from before. We just chunk up some alder and make it into smoke wood. And so, you know, growing up on the beach, we had king salmon, we've got coho, we've got pinks, we've got all kinds of salmon that come into the beach, and we would just take them and we'd smoke them. Sometimes we do 500 pounds a year, which is for a personal operation, that's quite a bit of fish. And then a lot of times we'd take it and put it into jars and jar it for the winter. And yeah, no, it was always something that we did growing up, and it was a lot of fun to do that. So so the next thing I want to show you is over here at this boat right here. This is the one that I have been on since I was 14 years old. All right, so this is the boat that I grew up fishing on, and this boat has brought me through a lot of adventures. 14 years old, we had a boat to start out, an old smoker craft, and we sank it. There's 2 times in my life that I didn't bring a survival kit with me, and both times of those I sank a boat. So that was fun. That's a story we probably will go over at some point on this series. But after we sank the first one, this is the one that we got. And you know, I've been a lot of crazy places with this. I've been down to the Canadian border. I trapped in the winter time. I've been in 15-foot seas. I've been, you know, in 15 below weather with 30 knots of wind, where the spray was coming over the bow and freezing. There's been a lot of crazy stuff that I have seen over the years being here. And so I'm excited to show you guys some of those videos and tell some of those stories. You know, growing up, it was Dad's belief that if I had a full tank of gas and a boat, that's the best place a young man could be, someone in their teens. And I'm really grateful that was something that he did for me, because, you know, I got to go out here. I got to go out on the beach and go in the woods and do a lot of things that most kids that age don't get to do. And I have a lot of experience just because of that. And so that's it's one of those things that I'm really grateful for. And you know, once the summer comes in, right now we got a bunch of snow in the boat launch, but once the summer comes in, we're going to take that boat out and we're going to go see some of those places. Like, I'm really excited to tell those stories and go to the place they happened. Go to the beach, go to the woods, go in the water, and go see those for what they are. You know, when I was in college, I'd go down somewhere else in the United States, and people would think I wasn't telling the truth about some of the stories that I have. And the reality is that things up here are just a little different. And up here, I'm not unique. There is a lot of things that people do here that nobody else does anywhere in the United States and a lot of other places. You know, a lot of places you see, you got urban with a little bit of wilderness in a controlled environment. But here it's the opposite. You have a town, and everywhere out there is wilderness. You get out there 20 minutes in that boat, and it's wild. And so it's dangerous. It's an unforgiving place. I guess that's probably the word for it, is unforgiving. And you learn a lot about how to take care of yourself and how to conduct yourself out in those situations. And so that'll be a lot of fun to go over. And so what we would do with this boat is we'd hook a four-wheeler up to it, and we would bring it this direction and come right on over here. And this is the entryway. You can see the snow right now, so we can't take the boat until that melts. But we would launch that boat right here, and in 5 minutes we could be in the water. And so that gave me a lot of access that most people didn't have. When growing up, I could be in the water in 5 minutes, and you know, year round. I was out in the winter. You can see it snowing now. I spent a lot of time in that open boat in the winter time and in the summertime. So it's been a really cool thing to have available growing up, and I think it's made me who I am today. And then here's the beach where I grew up. This is Herring Cove. Here in the water, we would catch salmon. There's several species of salmon that come in right here. The tide goes out another 150, 200 yards in the low tides, and then it comes up to the rocks, where the rocks get mostly underwater. And so there's a lot of variation, and a lot of folks come and go during the year. So it's a really cool place to grow up, and I'm grateful I had those experiences. And then behind me, that's the house. There you go. That's the house where I grew up at. And you know, it's always, when you're out there on the water coming around the corner, that's home. Across the way behind me, you can see over there that snow patch. That's where the fish plant is that we built. That is where I built that smokehouse, and so we can see it's right close to home. It's right here at home. And so a little bit about home, and that's the other part of this video that I wanted to talk about, is that you know, growing up, this place has given me a sense of home. And they always say, if you want to know who an Alaskan is, don't worry, they'll tell you. You get out in different parts of the world, and everybody seems to like to say, oh, we're from Alaska, because it's a unique thing. And that's not common to me, but you know, it's a unique way of life. It's something that's a bit more primal in a lot of ways. You get to be out and see some just different things than most people do, especially in today's society. And so it's been a lot of fun, and it's been a really fulfilling childhood, fulfilling young adulthood being here. So I've been thinking about what I want to do with these videos, and I think it's a really good opportunity to tell some of these stories. Reality is I'm not super comfortable on camera. It's not the thing that I love to do. And there's a lot of people out there who are better talkers than me, probably better looking than me, probably more suited to this. But I think it's something that's important. I think it's important to tell our stories. And I see this as an opportunity to preserve some of the heritage it's for my grandkids, because this place, I'd like my grandkids to still enjoy it when they're here. And you know, this place, I spent a lot of time coming back in the dark out in the water. And you could always come around the corner from any one of these places out here, and it's a really unique set of lights. And it's always the thing that kind of guides me back home, is the lights here. And I think that's similar to a lot of things, how it's been in my life. You know, this place has been home, and anywhere I've gone over the years, it's been, this is the place that I always come back to. You know, I've done a lot of things in 36 years. You know, I've been to music school. I have a degree in music. I'm a journeyman lineman with the IBEW. There's my jacket there. I've been a commercial fisherman. I You know, it's in the tourism industry. I was a tour guide for 10 years, 15 years, something like that. And so there's been a lot of experiences, and I've been all over the country, coast to coast. You know, I did my Powerline apprenticeship in the Mountain States region, so I was quite a few places there. And then once I topped out and became a journeyman, I spent a lot of time, especially on the East Coast, chasing ice storms. I've been in Florida for a few hurricanes. I was there for Hurricane Ian and Hurricane Irma. You know, I drove through the eye wall of Hurricane Ian. I was down there. We were sitting in Lake City, waiting for the storm to pass, and they called us whenever it was in the afternoon. They said, "Hey, we need you in Boca Raton." And I'm like, "You understand there's a hurricane between here and there?" And they're like, "Yeah, we don't care. Go." So we drove down I-75 and we went through the eye wall, and that was an experience, to say the least. We were driving along, and you know, it was blowing about 80, 100 miles an hour, and then we met Florida Man. We were driving down the freeway, and this guy in a Harley came by, with his long beard, just flapping in the breeze, and you know, he just driving along, not a care in the world through a hurricane. So we met Florida Man. You know, I've been up to the Northeast, you know, up around New York, Massachusetts, Maine, putting power lines back in the air. Did a lot of my apprenticeship out in Long Island, out there through New York City. And, you know, it's been a pretty wild ride. And, you know, even in college, my college was the University of Idaho. I came through Lionel Hampton School of Music, Go Vandals. And it was, you know, again, it's just a very different world. So grateful to have this opportunity. And, you know, back to what I was saying about heritage and family history. When my grandpa came up with my dad in 1957, things were very different here. And they saw a lot of things that I'll never see. And a lot of those stories that he has and the things he experienced are getting lost. They're starting to disappear with time. And my dad, you know, when he was a kid growing up on this beach right here in the same house, it's the same thing. A lot of those stories are starting to fade. Things he did just aren't the same. You know, he was hunting off the front porch, and now you couldn't do that. And it'll be the same with my kids, is that the things that I got to do when I was their age, when they get to the age that they're doing stuff, is going to be a different experience than they have. But I think it's important to tell these stories and to understand where we came from. You can't stop the progress. You can't stop change, and that's part of life. But I think if you want to guide that progress and be responsible about the change that happens, is that you got to remember where you come from. You got to remember your heritage. And, you know, again, I hope in these videos I can preserve some of that and, you know, show folks what life is like up here. Some of the things I got to experience. And, you know, the reality is I'm not unique up here. Most of the people who have spent time on the water and around the woods have seen as many things or more than I have. It's just once you get out of this setting, it's just different. And so it's going to be a fun time. I'm really looking forward to it. Again, I'm grateful for the opportunity to share this with everyone, and I hope you enjoy the ride.